Pop quiz hotshot. Do you know what the card Essence Reliquary does? Hmm. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And today, Chip's person, that is the owner of Chip the Cat, has asked us to play with a cat deck. I mean, yeah, we probably shouldn't call it a cat deck. It's a deck that happens to have a kitten in it because the kitten is fierce and deadly. So you are looking at a rather unusual one ring deck that Chip's person has called Jewelless Jewel. The name here is referring to Coveted Jewel, which is often played in Vintage, where you could just tap two of your lands to cast this thing, and when it enters, you draw 3 cards, and then it's a Black Lotus every single turn. You know, there's some other words on here that we're gonna hope aren't particularly relevant. So, what's the game plan with this deck? Get to 4 mana on either turn 1 or turn 2 to go and do crimes. That's the deck oversimplified. So on turn 2, you are hoping to do one of Karn or the One Ring or Displacer Kitten and snowball the game forward. You can do this by something like 2 Ancient Tombs, an Ancient Tomb and a Crystal Vein, an Urza's Tower and a Planar Nexus, a Grim Monolith, and a Manifold Key. There's a lot of ways to do it, but the deck is very much meant to go and catapult you forward to 4 mana, where you can start doing something busted. Karn is essentially extra copies of the One Ring in this deck, although Karn very clearly has other functionality as well. We are ultimately probably going to win most games with a Walking Ballista combo. We're going to maybe not literally make infinite mana, but oftentimes enough mana to just easily win the game. And we can do this just by repeatedly untapping Grim Monolith with some keys. If we get Paradox Engine involved, it just gets very, very easy to do this. Or we can go infinite with Displacer Kitten. There's a bunch of things that you can do to go infinite with this. So for example, if you have 2 mana sources, such as a Grim Monolith and a Mox Opal, you can tap a Grim Monolith for mana, cast a Mox Opal, bounce the Grim Monolith, replay the Grim Monolith and Mox Opal, repeating, and you can use that to get infinite mana and then do some other payoff thing. A lot of times the easiest Displacer Kitten combo loops are going to involve Teferi, where you Teferi, you bounce some 0 drop or 1 drop sometimes with Teferi's ability. Then you Mox Opal. When you cast the Mox Opal, you blink the Teferi, and you can just go through and draw your whole deck in that capacity. We have Transmute Artifact as another way to tutor out our copies of the One Ring and potentially later Coveted Jewel as well. And Lorien Revealed will probably be surprisingly hard castable in this deck. As far as the sideboard goes, most of it is a Karn tutor board. Essence Reliquary is maybe one of the only things that is not super recognizable here. You can tap it to return another target permanent you control to its owner's hand. You can only activate it during your turn. It's a little convoluted, but this can allow you to go infinite with Karn and Displacer Kitten. The gist of it is that you can use Karn to get Mox Opal, cast Mox Opal, blink Karn, use Karn to get Essence Reliquary, use Essence Reliquary to bounce Mox Opal, and kind of go from there. I think that's really all I have to say here. Let's go ahead and jump into some matches here. Should you need any Displacer Kittens or anything else for this deck, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on any online orders that you place. And if you see this banner in person at a major event, such as MagicCon Chicago, go check them out. They tend to have a really good HP and Legacy/Vintage case. All right, let's battle. All right, I have been told to mulligan very aggressively with this deck until I have 4 mana on turn 2. And this hand is not doing that. This second one also is not doing that. Now we start getting into the sketchy territory. I think it is better to continue to mulligan towards the One Ring than to keep something that is just going to play a Teferi. We are on 4. On 4, I believe that I am just keeping and hoping for the best. We will. I wonder if I should... No, I don't want my land to get thought seized if that randomly happens. So we are not making it to 4 mana on turn 2 as things currently stand. And whatever I do will be very answerable. You know, Daze, Force of Will, Prismatic Ending, whatever. Second land drop from our opponent. No moves yet. We're playing around like Daze and Spell Pierce and stuff. But it seems like opponent has something to say about this, even if it's just Brainstorm. There is a second fetch. Are you going to actual factual counterspell me? Daze me. I will pay. I will pay? Got another one? You know, honestly, that's on me. I should have played around triple Daze. What a fool I am. Now that does set my opponent back pretty massively. This is 4 to untap, so we have no valid plays right now, unfortunately. Opponent's fetching. Their hand is not very strong here, because their hand has 3 lands in it. They just drew something good. Beans? Beans. Awkward. I think I don't cast Cat immediately, because casting Cat and then Lotus Petal afterwards is much better value-wise. But we're very much feeling the mulligan now. Okay. 4 mana, Displacer Kitten. Cast Lotus Petal. Blink Grim Monolith. Grim Monolith. 4 mana. Cast another Displacer Kitten. Now we're like 1 cool spell away from going infinite. So hopefully we just rip something like the One Ring and go kind of wild. Mystic Sanctuary. Just targeting Brainstorm. Wow, a Consider. So this deck is probably very heavy on things like Murktide Regent. Love that for me. Send in. Opponent takes 4. I will win the game on the spot if this spell resolves. Cast Teferi. Blink this. Blink this. The opponent is going to Brainstorm to look for a Force of Will. Okay, so this is now going to go infinite. So I'm going to go ahead and bounce my Lotus Petal. I will cast Lotus Petal. One of these will bounce, or blink Teferi. One of these will blink Grim Monolith. So now, Teferi bounces Lotus Petal, and then I repeat this process. And my opponent, seeing the writing on the wall, has conceded the game. And with Teferi in play, so my opponent can't possibly interrupt this, it is just very safe. So we're playing against a blue deck. I am probably going to board in some amount of this stuff and make my Karns worse. I don't really think I need counterspells against my opponent's deck. I think I just need to do my thing. How is Transmute Artifact? Is that good? Transmute Artifact is additional defense grids. Transmute Artifact is additional One Rings. I am going to try this. I think this is fine. This doesn't really have payoff yet, but it just has defense grid around Daze immediately, and can then do... Yeah, no, my opponent is going really hard on the graveyard. Multiple Displacer Kittens. Alright, so Lotus Petal, and let's just shove defense grid. We get a Force of Will and a Consign to Memory for that. That is fantastic. Second land drop, pass the turn. I think I just play some mana out for right now. I currently have 1 shot at using blue mana. I don't think I need to just Displacer Kitten immediately. I think that just ends up walking into stuff like Swords to Plowshares too easily. Third land drop and pass the turn. Nice. So now Displacer Kitten is fully just bait. I would kind of prefer to not tap 2 Ancient Tombs, like maybe in some timelines. I don't have to use this immediately. Let's go 3 Grim Monolith, blink Grim Monolith, see if this gets a response. It doesn't. So now I will cast the One Ring. I will blink a Monolith. We'll see if this gets like a Consign to Memory. It does, with Replicate. We will lose our spell. Oh, it targeted the spell twice. Did not target my trigger, so I get this mana. I just did that wrong. I don't have anything to do with the mana right now, but I very easily could have something to do with the mana in a minute. Opponent just doing graveyard things over there. There's beans. Sure. Well, I have infinite mana whenever I want it, but we're currently on the cat beatdown plan. Opponent's at 16. 3 mana. Mox Opal. Blink this. Mox Opal is giving us blue mana here. So there's 4 mana. I will just put another kitten into play. Opponent just... they're stifling as well. Okay. Sure. I don't think the second kitten actually does anything other than attack for 2 additional points of damage. I think opponent's about to cast a Lorien Revealed. If they are, they can put Lorien Revealed on top, or Force of Will on top, and then Lorien Revealed into it, drawing a bunch of cards, and that's, like, really not good for me. Yup. So now the next thing that I do probably gets countered. It's unfortunate, obviously. It will get countered in a way that cantrips, well, I think we are powering through rather than trying to draw defense grid randomly. Can't even cast a Teferi if I were to draw one. So I think we will just accept the trade here. Commandeer. Sure. Commandeer steals spells, by the way. This is the second time in the past week or two that I've seen someone playing Commandeer in Legacy. That is probably not a sign of format health. So it seems like my opponent's deck is just trying to up the Beanstalk and Murktide Regent harder, rather than going into other colors for additional removal and utility. Yeah, there's the Murktide that draws a card. Are we doing it again? That's not great. That's a lot of damage. So in case you're not super familiar with Murktide Regent, the reason it is going to... oh, it's the whale. Sure. Anyway, whenever an instant or sorcery leaves your graveyard, you put a +1/+1 counter on Murktide Regent. So playing Murktide Regents in multiples often gets really scary. And I think if I don't do something this turn, I'm just effectively dead to this, because my opponent will get back Consign to Memory and Force of Will, and I'm just not powering through anymore. Also, I am just at 14. I am just fully dead to this. I think I am happy with how I have sideboarded here. Nope. Second hand only produces 1 mana. This is not acceptable. What is my land count in this deck? Low. Okay. We'll be going to 5. I guess. Am I keeping 3 lands? I think I keep 3 lands. Get rid of Transmute. Oh, no, never mind. I'll get rid of this. So we will Manifold Key. We are down a lot of cards here. This is not great. Opponent just makes a land drop and passes. We'll cast a Lotus Petal. So we're going to make blue here. And make white with Lotus Petal. Like so. A great counterspell for my opponent. Oh shit, we're in play. Unexpected. I think we are just straight up drawing a card here. Oh gosh. Okay, that's not what we want. So the good news is that I have 4+ mana. I have a Teferi that can probably safely plus for a couple of turns. So counterspells are off, but I do need a Haymaker. Thought Scour? Okay, I lose out on some mana. I lose the Planar Nexus. So plus here. This is 3 mana now. I have the 1 ring for next turn, which is very, very good for me. But I can't do anything in the short term. So things get a little scary if my opponent can play a creature specifically right here. Otherwise, I hopefully will just go wild. Nice. So Teferi pluses. I think I want this bonus mana here. Ow. 1 ring. We know it resolves. We get protection from everything. We draw a card. We untap the 1 ring. We tap the 1 ring. I have Mox Opals that don't do anything right now, so I'm just frankly not going to cast them. And then hopefully I just win the game on my next turn. I will be drawing enough cards with Manifold Key where it seems pretty likely that I'll get there. Land drop. Yeah, if you're just casting a Murktide Regent or whatever, I probably win. You may draw your card. And then hopefully we just do combo deck things. Yeah, that's a Karn. We're probably fine. So I'm going to take 2 here. Or I could just play Planar Nexus. That's fine. That catapults me forward on mana. Let's untap the 1 ring. Yeah. Displacer Kitten will very, very easily be a win here. I will play a Grim Monolith. Take some damage. Go blue. Play Displacer Kitten. Do a Teferi Plus. We will Mox Opal. Target Teferi. And then we have the loop again that will end in Walking Ballista. And our opponent concedes the game and doesn't make me click through it. Appreciated, opponent. You're cool. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I could say all sorts of great things about them, but I'm just going to point to this number. I have 488 deck lists stored on this site. That should give you a feel for how I feel about this website. And if you were to go to my profile, you could see all the deck lists that I'm messing around with, including my EDH decks, and you can even see some of the deck lists I record with before they hit the channel. Ooh. Okay, we have Teferi Displacer Kitten here, so this is probably ultimately going to be a fine hand. I'm a little unsure how this one plays out, though, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna just play Ancient Tomb and pass. I think I could sit here for like 5 minutes and run lines on like which land drop I play here and why regarding things like Wasteland. Windswept Heath. Fair green deck? Beans? Maybe beans. If so, I don't understand why. Teferi? I think I'm just into Teferi now. Let's just see if we can get this in under a counter spell. Negative. Nadu. That makes more sense. I now think that my opponent's Nadu deck will race my combo potential. So, you've got that. I think I am fully just I played the wrong land. I think I'm fully just jamming Kitten here. My opponent can interact with it, but like I do not have much time before they can just Nadu combo off. So they'll fetch. Not a Surveil land, so I'm just going to lose Displacer Kitten to Swords to Plowshares, which is not great. So we'll see if my opponent jams Nadu and starts comboing. They're just going to draw a card immediately. I don't get counter spells to fight against their stuff anymore. Yeah, no, this is terrible. Transmute artifact doesn't do anything without, you know, an artifact to transmute. I guess that's one complaint about my initial experience with this deck so far, is that a lot of things like the Fairy and Kitten and Transmute artifact are not objectively all that powerful on their own. And it has so many looks for things that matter. I mean, that's not bad. Attempt Karn. But opponent's not playing out additional creatures, so presumably what's in their hand is additional interaction. That's a Teferi Plus. I am at 15. Grim Monolith. So, I Grim Monolith. How does this work? I need to put mana in my pool right now. Transmute Artifact. I sacrifice Grim Monolith. I could take Coveted Jewel here, but my opponent has a creature already. I think accordingly I will take the 1 ring. I will pay that mana cost. I will draw a card. Oh shit, that's literally perfect. The blue mana probably doesn't matter. I'm gonna go this route. Yeah. Have I made a land drop this turn? Yes, I have played Island this turn. I don't think I Island cycle that. Teferi, unfortunately, is still in play. I don't get to force a will to stop Nadu combo if that happens. Surveil 1. I guess this Ancient Tomb doesn't hurt me right now. Or wait, no, it does, because I did not cast this. Never mind. So it's not just free to cycle Lorien Revealed. And this seems like it's Green Sun for Nadu. Yeah, don't get to use that. So now my opponent can do Sylvan Safekeeper Nadu stuff where they sacrifice lands to do the Nadu thing. I don't think I concede because I also have something stupid and broken in play that does stuff, but This is normally where I just walk away from the computer, go to the bathroom, and see if I'm dead afterwards. It is not particularly interesting or engaging. Yeah, I'll take my one. 14. So I lose 2. These are very bad right now. Let's do one of these, even though this could represent more mana in a minute. Draw more cards. Okay. So let's go white mana here. White and blue. Play Teferi. My opponent wants to counter. This is their chance to do so. They did not. So, Karn, get key, untap, ring is fine. What's Karn? Karn minus. Yes. Voltaic key. Cast Mox Opal. Cast key. Key target ring. Ring draw 5. Now I need a little more mana. Just go infinite. I can draw 6 cards. Might be fine. I'm not really interested in bouncing these because my opponent just gives Shroud. Maybe I bounce Mox Opal here, actually. Yeah, let's bounce Mox Opal here. So now I will Voltaic Key. I still have a Lotus Petal for afterward. Sorry, Manifold Key. Do this One Ring thing. Draw 6 cards. See if we can catapult forward on mana. Yeah. We do not. Dead? Feels like dead then. I take 6 to my One Ring. I didn't get a second mana to transmute artifact that out of play. Already made a land drop. Yeah, no, I am dead. Activated both these. That sucks. Okay. We'll see. Opponent could miss it. Discard these Force of Wills. Do something like that. Brainstorm. I don't have any sort of stifle effect, do I? I don't have, like, consign to memory. No, I don't. That is a green sun, presumably for Dryad Arbor. It may be much less obvious to my opponent that I am actually dead than I thought it was. What is that targeting? Nothing. Sure. They are sacking the Dryad Arbor, getting a land, fetching with Misty. Crowd still on the stack. Looks like they're going to activate again. No. Sure. Coming at me. I die to this One Ring trigger. Yep. Let's draw some cards. Let's just make sure there's no stupid way for me to get out of this. This is a sorcery. Untap. Draw. Got an out. I figured it out, folks. Don't you worry. I've got this. Draw. 0 cards remaining in deck. This is important for what's about to happen. Got him. Did not die to the One Ring trigger. I died to the One Ring activated ability instead. I think I just got too greedy with my combo line. Like, I can play that in a safer way that tries to just pass the turn, but, like, Nadu combo, it is so easy to die, or effectively die from it, I think, even with a Planeswalker or 2 in play there. I don't know that I'm sideboarding. Like, my opponent is playing their own Teferis and stuff. So, like, I don't know that boarding in counter spells makes sense. I don't know that my own defense grids are actively good. I think my deck is clunkier than my opponent's deck. Possibly I have something like Force of Vigor, and Defense Grid might be okay for those reasons. I'm either playing Defense Grid or Force of Will. Force of Will is basically the only thing I have that interacts with my opponent's combo meaningfully. So I think I don't get to board Defense Grid. I think I just keep my Force of Wills, even though they're not the best. No? Maybe? Cycle, 2 mana. I mean, it goes big with Grim Monolith, assuming that things work. Maybe I just need to keep it. I'm just going to be lazy here. Cycle this immediately. I'll probably pick up Tundra. Plains? Yeah, we could get turn 2'd here. Well. Here's hoping no counterspells. 3 mana. Manifold Key. Untap. Monolith. 4 mana. I think Key. Untap. Monolith. 5 mana. We're now playing around Daze. One Ring. In play. Doesn't matter. I can still just die next turn through One Ring protection from everything. Yeah. Crystal Vein. Sure. Alright, that's not blue mana, so I'm not dead yet. So that's great. Yeah, attack into my protection from everything. It's about making a statement sometimes, rather than doing the best play. I will lose 1 life. 1 ring. Force of Will is cool. First Manifold Key probably just untaps 1 ring here. Second Manifold Key is probably mana, though. These cards are all very expensive. That's kind of unfortunate. So I will untap this. Is Karn in any capacity better than just playing Displacer Kitten? I think no. I think I just want to play a Displacer Kitten. And then if I Force of Will... So I could Force of Will this, untap Grim Monolith. That doesn't actually do anything. I think it's probably a trap to counter this. Yeah. It just feels too important to be able to counter a Nadu that comes down this turn. Sure. I still don't feel like I know why my opponent kept their hand. It's slightly scary. I'll take 2. Like maybe they... No, they have blue mana. They could be casting cantrips and shit. A new 1 ring. Sure. Draw cards. Now I have some inexpensive stuff. This is great. I'm going to just have infinite mana here, assuming that my stuff works. Attempt Displacer Kitten. Displacer Kitten is in play. That is fantastic. Cast Mox Opal. Blink Grim Monolith. Fantastic. 3 mana. Let's use 1 to just untap the 1 ring here. Yeah. Fantastic. Teferi is what I wanted. That just puts the end to everything. We'll just make more mana here. So this is white, blue, Teferi. We'll do this. Might get a colored mana bottleneck, so let's do this here first. But I now have literally 4 Force of Wills in hand. You can brainstorm. Absolutely. Okay. Now we just go infinite. So 3 mana, make blue, fairy, bounce Mox Opal. Now, cast Mox Opal, bounce to fairy. I started to just chat with my opponent and tell them what I was about to do. They conceded. Appreciate it. This is not a fun deck to play in terms of number of clicks required to produce a win, so thank you to my opponents so far who have been gracious enough to concede once lethal was presented. Yeah, this is probably fine. Cast a Karn on turn 2, has Coveted Jewel for slightly thereafter, has Displacer Kitten to maybe do something. I just don't... Ooh. I mean, that's good. I don't feel like my deck is just faster than my opponent's deck, though. Like, they represent a turn 2 Goldfish in a way that I don't really think I do a lot of the time. Let's play a Lotus Petal on turn 1. That's my 1 non-creature spell. Next turn, my 1 is probably Karn. At some point slightly thereafter, I might be able to play Kitten and do something else in the same turn cycle. This is a pain in the butt card, though. I don't really remove that, I don't think. And my opponent can play multiple spells because those are creatures. I might just die next turn. Okay. Well, not a lot of real agency or choices to be had here. I will cast a Karn. I will Karn minus. This is probably just Walking Ballista. Strangely. I use that to try to kill Nomads in Core and Noble Hierarch at the same time. I need 1 more mana to do that. I don't have an artifact land to tutor for here, and Mox Opal is not any good as a tutor target. Opponent's got a land now. My Karn gets attacked for 2. I really need one of my remaining, like, 17 lands or however many it is off the top of the deck here. It's a really big deal. True believer. I knew we were going to have it. It was never an issue. Ballista, X equals 2. We're in play. Karn plus... No targets. So Ballista, King Hierarch. And now we're playing like Dryad Arbor Chicken with this Misty Rainforest. I think I am passing priority and letting this live for the moment. Another fetch land is annoying. See what happens here. All right. Actually, I should have responded with that on the stack. Fuck. Okay, didn't matter. But it was, strictly speaking, correct to do so. All lands make mana. Yes, that's fine. Let's kill Nomads in Core while we can. Toxicrane resolves. The Metalcraft is a bit of a problem. Colored mana is not currently a problem. This denying me the sacrifice ability to put the One Ring into play is annoying. Liquid Metal Coating doesn't do much on its own. I want Metalcraft. I haven't figured out how to get that yet. I think I am plussing on nothing, keeping Karn alive, and just having that be a distraction. And I am going to play out an artifact here. I don't think I am interested in artifact plus on Karn, turn this into a 1-1. I think I want to work towards being able to draw a monolith and do something impressive. Karn is still a reasonable distraction. That's a Nadu. Obviously bad for me. And a prismatic ending. That's fine. My opponent's very favored on this board, I think. That is not quite the mana that I am looking for. It's the mana that I'm getting. We'll get a land, play a land. Ox Opal is what I can cast. Oh, plus Karn with no targets, that saves me 2 life. Then, no, I've already cast my 1. Can't even just turn it into a key. So imagine I lose Karn and take 3. Yep. And we're chilling. For the future, let's put a Displacer Kitten into play. Nope, it's just Force of Will as the one unknown card. Sure. That means that I don't have a reasonable play this turn. The 5 damage a turn is going to kill me very quickly, even if my opponent doesn't do anything. I don't really know how I beat Deafening Silence. I rip Teferi. Karn is not even very good here. Like, I don't have Ensnaring Bridge, right? Like, that's not a card that I'm playing. Yeah, I think I am playing Displacer Kitten in hopes of drawing Teferi next turn. Oh, okay. Yeah, so my opponent just draws 6 cards here. Electro Oof. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I am going to beat Electro Oof plus draw all of these cards plus Deafening Silence. GG's. Alright. We've got an okay opening hand here. It's 4 mana on turn 2 for Karn. We could alternatively Teferi on turn 2. One has mulligan to 5. Hopefully we don't just die on turn 1. Underground Sea. Alright, so I lose my agency in which card I am playing on my turn. I've lost Karn. So we'll do the other one. Does cost us Lotus Petal. I am just going to plus. I want to make it more awkward for my opponent to play out Nethergoy for whatever it is that they're going to play. I could get punished by my opponent playing something like Orcish Bowmasters. That would be naturally good against me drawing cards. Oh shit, it's Doomsday. Okay. So Grim Monolith is like I just play Grim Monolith and bounce it, and that nets me a mana. So yeah. The fairy bounce. Transmute artifact. Okay. So Grim Monolith, land drop, make blue mana, cast Transmute, sacrifice Grim Monolith, get Coveted Jewel? 3 cards, fine. Nah, let's get the One Ring. That is more cards, maybe even more cards immediately if we hit hot, which we did not. Alright, so my opponent's going to cast Doomsday, and I'm probably going to die on my following turn. I will get a draw step plus 2 cards to beat my opponent's Doomsday pile, which will probably just be cycle, kill you. Plus or minus a little bit. Opponent's at 8. I lose a little life. For Monolith, not what I am looking for. Manifold Key is fine. So let's make some mana. Manifold Key. Untap the One Ring. Draw a bunch of cards. Oh my god. It's all mana other than the key. I don't think I'm into spending this much mana to draw cards. Let's Manifold Key instead and hope that goes somewhere. We haven't even found something like a Force of Will yet. Florian Revealed might be our blue card for that. Holy shit. 2, 3, 4. Well, alright. 6 mana. Coveted Jewel. This is really only 3 mana if you look at it funny sideways. Guess I should have Grim Monolith before this. Okay, there is a Force of Will. So 3 mana, Grim Monolith, 4 mana, Karn. I have 3 mana to do something with Karn. Karn minus. I could Rashad and Port my opponent. I think I'm just getting Voltaic Key, though. Just believing. So, Voltaic Key. Untap the One Ring. Draw 5. Okay. Now, can I just win? Manifold Key. Untap 3 colorless mana. That does not get me to Displacer Kitten. I currently have double Force of Will into win on the following turn, or I can Manifold Key the One Ring and try to draw something that wins now. That's starting to get a little tough. I think I call it good here. But we counterspell literally anything that hits the stack. Literally anything gets hit with counterspell. Artifact mana is off. Counterspells are off. We'll see how far they can get with Street Wraiths. That's 2 of them. Cavern plus Oracle as 2 remaining cards is rough. Alright, Edge of Autumn is fine. Can't interact with that. Cavern plus Oracle? Yep, Cavern plus Oracle. So none of that interacts with the Force of Will. And I am dead. So for funsies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That does not produce a win. Okay. So I want Force of Negation. That's probably all that I want. I would prefer to not cut blue cards. My deck feels so slow to win. Like, I'm very good at producing 4 mana, but that 4 mana takes a while to win the game. I don't know what to cut. That feels expendable. These are blue cards. I guess I'm increasing my blue count anyway. Yeah, my One Ring protection just is not super relevant. Sure. Yeah, my One Ring protection doesn't matter for Thassa's Oracle. Karn is not super relevant for my opponent comboing off. Force of Will can be played around. I do not feel good about this matchup. I've not felt good about opposing combo matchups, generally speaking. So, opponent's on 6. I will go to 18. We'll see if we can do something cool next turn. Land drop. Doomsday is coming. I would like to draw a blue card so that I can Force of Will Doomsday. I think that means I'm playing the One Ring over Karn. I think I can play the One Ring prior to my land drop. I am probably playing one of Planar Nexus or Urza's Tower, but I might get an indication for why I would want to play one versus the other. Damn it. We missed on a blue card. I think that means we lose the entire matchup. That's very unfortunate. We'll Lotus Petal, drop a land. We have 3 mana here, so I can't Karn on top of that. I mean, we played to our out. I just missed. So if opponent has a ritual, they got it. Yep. Frustrating. I don't think we win the game on average by drawing a couple cards with the One Ring. Alright, my opponent has made their pile. If there's anything particularly interesting here, there's Force of Negations. Notably, one of the Thassa's Oracles is not in the pile. There is Sheoldred in my opponent's deck that is, I guess, good to know about. There's a Street Wraith there. Multiple Sheoldreds, in fact. Oh, I see opponent is cycling Street Wraith immediately. Oh, am I gonna die now? Petal Oracle? Petal. Not Oracle. Okay. I can Karn to shut these off. I don't think that matters, though, because my opponent has the requisite mana to do broken things. 3 mana. 5 mana. Cast Karn. These are off. I Karn minus. I guess we're getting Voltaic Key. Cast Key. Untap the One Ring. Draw some more cards, see if I can find more interaction or a way to continue going from here. I mean, I guess I can try to find more blue cards / counter spells at the cost of 2 Lotus Petals. Sure. It feels like this is all in vain, because my opponent just wins with Thassa's Oracle. But damn it, we've got to try. Okay, we have done as much as we can. We have not drawn more blue cards or more counter spells here. Rid of a Planar Nexus, a Planar Nexus, a Planar Nexus. I have 1 counter spell. I don't imagine that Karn disrupts my opponent's plan. Well, I can counter that. Force of Will, pitch Force of Negation. Can you interact with me? Opponent said, too worried about K command and flute, didn't count my library last turn. Joke's on you, nerd. I've got neither of those cards. I liked the part where I didn't die because my opponent played around cards that I didn't have. Smith, to your credit, I think you playing around those things is like very perfectly reasonable, given what you have seen of my deck so far. But holy shit, am I just like dead if you just cast Boss's Oracle off Cavern of Souls or something like that. I don't think I am adjusting sideboarding here. I am going to keep this hand because I believe that my role in this matchup is control. And this is a hand that has an active counter spell even after a Thoughtseize that targets me. Yes. Yes. No. Force of Will. Pitch, Force of Negation. Fantastic. Now I get 4 mana on turn 2. That's not bad. So hopefully this buys us some time before my opponent doomsdays. I'm scared. I need an adult. We are trying to draw a blue card here. Any blue card will do for the purposes of the One Ring. Oop, am I getting dazed? Consigned to memory? Oh shit, but my opponent just shuffled their Doomsday away to do that. Yes. One Ring was a counterspell for Doomsday. We accept this. Abso-fucking-lutely, we accept this. That is not a mana pip towards Doomsday. Okay. Nice. Cast Karn. Karn minus. Say yes. Next turn I have 3, 4, 5 mana. Mox Opal not active. We probably just get the One Ring. Liquid Metal Coating actually not bad here. I'm going to get that. I am going to value being disruptive over trying to win the game. I have Force of Will or Force of Negation for a Sheoldred or a Doomsday. Yeah. You get a Doomsday. You can draw that next turn. I'm not entirely sure that that is going to be very easy to cast. Ooh. So, Liquid Metal Coating. Target a UC. Karn plus blow up that land. Manifold Key. Untap Liquid Metal Coating. Pass turn. I have effects during your upkeep. Oh shit, we got the GGs in the chat. So, can my opponent do something different with Personal Tutor that gives them a better chance to win than search for Doomsday here? Just thinking through this a little bit more, because opponent said they were a fan of the channel, and I want to go through the rest of this thought here. Can my opponent do something like Personal Tutor for Ponder, try to work towards Ponder's Sheoldred? No. It's like, if Dark Ritual is currently the card in their hand, I keep them from casting Doomsday on their next turn, then I blow up Underground Sea, then I port them off of Ponder, or do they have to just go for Doomsday and have to have Blackland plus Dark Ritual in hand to get out from under this? They don't know about the counterspells in my hand, but it's quite bad at that point. Yeah, I'm not sure if there is a winning line for my opponent from here. Regardless, GG's. I am not sure if I win that game if my opponent, or sorry, that match if my opponent plays game 2 slightly differently. Okay, we've got Planar Nexus Karn. We've got our 4 mana on turn 2 covered. I can play out a Manifold Key ahead of time. Basic Island Tamiyo. Sure. I have bonus Karn to try again. I don't have anything like a Pithing Needle or a Disruptor Flute to stop the backside of this. So I should treat Tamiyo flipping and doing the ultimate thing as something that is just going to beat me, given time. So let's try to win the game sooner rather than later. Karn resolving means these clues don't do anything, which is kind of a big deal, but my opponent can just cast another cantrip here and flip Tamiyo immediately, which is happening. So now Tamiyo is going to flip. All right. My opponent no longer gets to use clue tokens. Doesn't make sense to attack a 1/1 into Tamiyo. I guess I want to find the One Ring here. That's the plan. I've already made my land drop. Oh, Tamiyo just going for Ponder immediately. That buys us a lot of time. What are we most afraid of now? Probably something a little wild like a Phyrexian Dreadnought getting into play that can just kill us in 2 turns. Beans are less scary. Displacer Kitten. Alright. Defense grid first. Seems perfectly fine and reasonable here, given circumstances. So let's just defense grid, and then I know that I resolve the One Ring 100% of the time. I will draw cards. I will untap the One Ring. I will draw cards. I've made land drops. I'm passing the turn. I will discard one of these transmute artifacts. They're a little hard to cast right now. We'll see what my opponent can do. I have lines like animate defense grid, attack Tamiyo, or animate the One Ring, attack Tamiyo that are kind of interesting. A lot of that depends on how much mana my opponent spends on their own turn for how safe they are. Narset. Ooh, I don't know that that was correct. Because now I can just attack and kill that Narset, whereas I could not do that previously. Yeah. So, Karn plus on the One Ring. It's a 4/4. I go to combat. I attack Narset. It becomes a 3/3. I kill Narset. Now I get to draw cards again. Yeah. Very clear punt. You can play Narset and leave it at 5 loyalty, at which point I actually can't draw those bonus cards. Decisions matter. I think my opponent went on autopilot there. Alright, let's board a lot of the haymakers and defense grid type stuff in. So let's try to get defense grids and at least the One Ring in here. Frustratingly for Coveted Jewel, this says whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attacks you and aren't blocked, so it doesn't actually have to deal combat damage. So Tamiyo is valid to steal Coveted Jewel. That? Maybe I need Force of Will for Narset. I don't really want to play that though. Oh, that's bad hand. That's a bad hand. This has 4 mana, but Displacer Kitten is not a good standalone card. I think I would rather mulligan than keep this in play. This has potential. It's a 5-card hand. I'm going to get rid of the key, and I'm getting rid of one of these two. I think I'm getting rid of this one. I think I want to be able to jam on turn 2, and then hope to be able to also jam on turn 3. I think that one turn matters a lot. Like, we are seeing play towards Ancient Tomb, play towards Tron Piece, play towards Tron Piece. We are currently seeing some legacy control decks like play Lotus Petal because the turn just is so incredibly important in current legacy. I think being able to just attempt 4-drop into 4-drop is too important to not do. I hit Lorien Revealed. Not a card that I want right now, but it's a card that's fine later. Karn is not very good right now, but my opponent does not know that. So let's cast Karn. This is my bait spell. Successfully baited. Mox Opal is not on for Metalcraft purposes, and neither of these is better than Basic Island right now. Tapped Mystic Sanctuary. That'll do. That will get me to where I want to go. Yep. I mean, I guess I'm happy that that is getting pierced instead of the One Ring. So, like, mission failed successfully. But, like, if this is a functional mana source, I have the ability to play around Spell Pierce. I guess the fear now is that my opponent, like, sets up a second up the Beanstalk or a Narset. Yeah, that's fine. Again, it is a little frustrating, because denying that 1 mana matters, but that's not losing me the game as of right now. My opponent has taken themselves off of 2 different colors here, but it looks like they might just flip Tamiyo and then be able to return Force of Negation or Spell Pierce or whatever. So I might actually have a very narrow window to do cool things in. Take 2, I'm at 14. I need a land. Okay, it is a land. Again, my Karn is not very good here. I think we have to play the spell that matters before this stuff can come back. Draw a card. That doesn't do anything. Got it. So there's some fear that Tamiyo flips this turn. Okay. We've got Karn attack Narset if my opponent minuses, which they did. It's very good for me. And now the hope is that my opponent attacks with both of these instead of leaving one black back as a blocker. They leave back Harbinger as a blocker. So they did learn from the last time. Alright. 13. Is it correct for me to kill Harbinger of the Seas? Unclear. That is a thing that I can do. I don't know if that's actually good. Grim Monolith. 3 mana. 4 mana. Karn. Cracks the clue in response. That makes sense. Karn resolves. So I can Karn plus on the One Ring, attack Narset. Opponent blocks with Harbinger of the Seas and turns their various colors of mana back on. Or I can simply not do that. And I think I will simply not do that and leave Harbinger of the Seas in play. It feels like I deal with that better than my opponent does. I think I get Walking Ballista. Cast Walking Ballista specifically for X equals 1 and pass the turn. Now, this says each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn, so I can still draw a card for the One Ring on my opponent's turn. My opponent has Lorien reveal that they're about to cast. Tamia will investigate, make a clue. Not blocking here. Karn takes a hit. Then opponent casts Lorien revealed. Draws a ton of cards, which transforms Tamio. Tamio pluses. Got a land drop. I would like to draw 1 card. I get a land. Now I lose some life. Awkwardly, now I want colored mana. I could go 4 mana, put a counter on Walking Ballista, kill this, and then have 1, 2, 3 mana. That does work in theory. I'm just thinking about if my opponent has Swords to Plowshares. Alright. 4 mana for the counter. Oh wait, I didn't need to do this. I have the fucking Mox Opal that's live. My turn is a lot less sexy than it could have been. That was very stupid on my end. I get to just play this Teferi and then see if my opponent has interaction. Now I can risk the One Ring dying, which I think I will do. Plus on it here. Go to combat. Narset is the scarier one here. Attack. Actually, maybe I send both at Narset, just in case. Then these shrink. My opponent will let those resolve, and then they can sword, so I gain less life. Yep. Yeah, the Force of Will was unfortunate because I was not able to like successfully bait the whole force thing. Alright, I'm passing the turn here. I can at will remove either Harbinger of the Seas or Narset, but I don't think I need to pull the trigger on that yet. Like, I think Karn is less valuable than Walking Ballista, because Karn doesn't tutor for anything good. That's a problem of the sideboard plan that I was given of, like, go and board in the Haymakers. I just kill Narset in response. Why did we not activate? Oh, do you value keeping both of these? Alright, ping Narset. Ping Narset. Tamio for Force of Negation and Force of Will and stuff is still a problem. So there is a Murktide Regent. My opponent gets to draw a card. Now they can Tamio minus, pick up Force of Will. Yeah. This is 11 power backed by a counterspell. I don't think there's anything that I can do that can beat this. I mean, I will cast the card that I drew. Yeah. Tamio pluses. Opponent could, in theory, just find a new Murktide Regent, and I die this turn, and I don't even get another draw step. I think it happened. Yep. Okay, so that is lethal this turn. We go to another game. Yeah, I think my opponent won when they had both Force of Will and Swords to Plowshares on that 1-turn cycle. I think I need the fucking One Ring in the sideboard. Yeah, I think these cards just suck without that there. And let's just do something like that. No. This is bad. Like, I play a defense grid, it hopefully works, and then I can't play either one of the cards in my hand beyond that. I do not have blue. I have a ton of colorless producing lands in my deck. Mox Opal won't be on. I think I no-sir that and go to 5. The 5-card hand is bad. It has no plan to win the game. Planar Nexus is not efficient color production for Teferi. We're going to go to 4. I essentially need to do something broken quickly if I want to have any hope at winning this game. Let's draw a Tron land in exactly our first draw step. That was no bueno. We almost certainly do not win the game, but we'll give it the old college try. Okay, it's not beans. Tamiyo gets set up. Okay. Since we have 2 Karns, we're going to bait with Karn. I'm very glad that I put a 1 ring back in the sideboard so that this represents a real card. I'm fully expecting this to eat Consign to Memory or Spell Pierce or whatever. Now do I cast the 1 ring on the next turn? My opponent keeps almost like flipping Tamiyo before attacking with the clue, but I think they've caught themselves both times. Fetch land. There's Tamiyo flip. So now I think I need to play my valuable card before Tamiyo can minus and return Consign to Memory. So I think that means... interesting. I do not have the mana to cast that, though, because these are not efficient filtering. So we're jamming. Play the 1 ring. Seems like my opponent has an answer for it, unfortunately. Oh no, they're drawing a clue. They found the answer. Rough. So now, Consign to Memory is on the menu for impacting my stuff. And I assume that my opponent will be minusing. Oh, they minused for Brainstorm. That is interesting to me. That does not feel correct to me. But I don't know the other cards in my opponent's hand. Alright. So, blue. Inefficiently filter into white. Cast Teferi. Seems like there's a counterspell response to that. Mystic Sanctuary. Or Force of Will. And Brainstorm into that. What? 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 Prismatic Ending, X equals 3 on Teferi? I guess I play around that by drawing a card now to get my value out of my card. Okay. Land drop. Prismatic Ending. Okay. Then I know I have Force of Will to contend with. I can trade with Force of Will right now, but like it can just come right back. I think I'm trying to wait for a defense grid type card. This unquestionably favors my opponent, though. Yeah. And this is part of the reason why now the Force of Will cantrips. Ah, fuck. Yeah. Now my opponent can either bury me in cards or Fate Seal me to death. I am so bad at interacting with Planeswalkers. I have no Pithing Needle or Disruptor Flute. That feels like a deck building oversight. I mean, this is what I want. So this baits the Force of Will. My opponent cantrips with it. Now I can resolve a Karn. It is not very good. So I Karn minus. I get the 1 ring, but it's just going to get countered. I guess I could get Walking Ballista first. Let that get countered and then have the 1 ring. Fucking Tamiyo. Yeah, I guess I'm getting Walking Ballista first. I am going to get buried by these Planeswalkers. Like, I think I just have to hope that my opponent gets greedy with the Tamiyo. Okay, they did Tamiyo plus. Okay. Sure. Filter into white. Play Teferi. Cool. Play Lotus Petal. Can I even 1 ring from this life total? I don't think Walking Ballista is winning the game. Alright. Get the 1 ring. You're casting the 1 ring from 6 life. It's in play. I don't know that that actually means anything, though. I have to rip so incredibly hot to not die. I'm going to lose some number of my mana sources on the next turn to just not being able to tap them out of fear of dying. But, like, how am I beating Tamiyo minus? Oh, or Tamiyo ultimate for that matter. Yeah, that's not great. Yep. So, I miscounted the number of things on Tamiyo. I guess Walking Ballista ping Tamiyo for 1 is better than play 1 ring there. That just does not feel meaningful. Archetype is rough. I'm just gonna nope. I'm not beating this. GG's. Okay. We can make 4 mana on turn 2, so we keep this hand. Opponent's on 6. What are you doing? Volcanic Island, DRC. You've got it. This is a perfect hand to lose to Daze. Let's give them a chance to daze something on turn 1 that I don't actually care about. Manifold key is not important. I have a second one. Nice. Play to your outs. If Karn is the first relevant spell that I jam on turn 2 and that gets dazed instead, it's so much harder for me to win this game. I am possibly getting hit for 3 here. Not anymore. So we've got land, sorcery, instant in graveyard. So a bobble has to be a draw for artifact for me to get hit for 3. I only take 1. Fantastic. And sort of humorously, if I take some extra damage on turn 1, I could play around days naturally by taking a bunch of life damage. But I really have to value my life total here. As we have seen in other rounds, I do a lot of self-damage with this deck. We're in a Karn attempting to get the 1 ring. This Karn itself is not the best. It's getting countered. Now my hand does nothing for a very long time, and I probably die. The fact that my mana sources are Ancient Tombs is really bad here. Displacer Kitten is not a standalone win condition. Transmute Artifact is not a standalone card that is meaningful. I fully think that I am just going to die. Yeah. I am unsure if that was the correct land to hit. Like, I am quite happy that Planar Nexus is alive rather than Ancient Tomb. Like, that's the difference between me potentially taking 3 damage per turn cycle and 5 damage per turn cycle. I can't really even cast Displacer Kitten. These don't produce true blue mana. I could cast a Transmute Artifact and do nothing meaningful with it. Not great. I think we're just hoping opponent straight up has nothing for the rest of this game. Because I don't think I beat one more card. Just literally, I think one more anything puts my opponent over the edge. One more Lightning Bolt, one more creature, one more counterspell. I think we're dead to everything. Yeah, opponent, I think, made the same mistake as before. My life total is hyper relevant. It doesn't matter here because I am dead. But like, I think my life total is a limiting factor there. All right. I don't want Force of Wills. I want Defense Grids instead. I think that's all I can probably reasonably do. Okay, I can 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana, 4 mana. Can I Teferi with this? 1 mana, 2 mana, colorless mana. No, 1 colored mana. Yeah, so this is a hand with 5 mana sources and 2 payoff cards that can't actually cast a payoff card. I will have more to say about that in the outro. Yeah, no, this does not do anything. Yep, 5. Okay. At this stage, we're keeping this. Get rid of these 2. I am not playing an appropriate speed hand for Legacy unless the top card of my deck is a Tron land. That's why I'm leading on Planar Nexus here. I do not want Planar Nexus to be wastelanded. I would prefer that Ancient Tomb get wastelanded, but I think I need to play to my outs. This is bad. An opponent can check the top card of my library if I wanted before they would commit a wasteland. I guess they don't know that I'm trying to play towards that as an out. Never mind that thought. Oh, it is Grixis. Fuck. I lose Karn. My opponent takes a redraw. I've got an Ancient Tomb. I don't think I'm playing. Because I can draw, like, a Tundra, for example, and then just play Teferi without taking any life loss. I don't know that that's going to happen. But it is a thing that I can legally attempt to do. Right on board. Very close to dealing me 3 points of damage per turn cycle. That is a Karn. I will Teferi first. I do not believe that Teferi is going to resolve. But I also don't believe that Karn would resolve if I played Karn. So let's attempt this one first. Let's let this get dazed, and then we can start getting hit for 3. Force of Will instead. We got 2 cards instead of 1. Yeah, but I fully think Karn is bad right now. So Karn, if it resolves, tutors for the 1 ring, and then dies. So I need to dodge counter spells for 2 turns in a row. 1 to resolve Karn, 1 to resolve the 1 ring. And at that point, my multiple Ancient Tombs that I have, plus DRC, is going to put me in a bad place. That's a really important draw, I think. All right, attempt Karn. Okay. Tutor. I will pick up the 1 ring. There's hope. Well, this Karn can just die to Bolt or a DRC attack, and that's not great for me. Why are we fetching with this specific timing and not, like, at my upkeep? There was no cantrip cast. I guess I'm not sure. Alright, goodbye, Karn. Wasteland is exceptionally bad for me. Holy shit, that is bad for me. Planar Nexus is probably the correct hit. Planar Nexus supports Urza's Tower while also producing white for Teferi. Alright. Well, moment of truth. Do you have a counterspell? No! I get to fog for a turn, draw a card. Okay. I did not get to take advantage of this second Ancient Tomb not costing me any life, which is very unfortunate. But hitting Planar Nexus so that Urza's Tower and Planar Nexus are sources of mana that don't deal me damage is a big deal. So my opponent has had cards in hand for a couple of turns and hasn't done anything with them. That kind of makes me worried that there is something like a Meltdown over there that is going to interact with a bunch of permanents that I play out. I don't know that there is much to be done about that, but it is a thing. God damn it. Yeah. That sure does make my Displacer Kitten one ring loop significantly worse, huh? Yeah. Alright. I'm at 9. White. How am I getting Metalcraft? Do I need to just straight up Lucksack into another artifact? I might need to straight up Lucksack into another artifact here. Let's try this. I will minus on Bowmasters. Miss. Take 6. Oh, no, I'm dead. So take 6. Plus 1, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, no, I am dead to this. Can I get through this turn if I do it differently? I Displacer Kitten, I play Mox, I blink the One Ring, I draw 1 card, I draw Defense Grid. That does not allow me to play Teferi? I would have played Kitten off of this. Defense Grid, 1, 2, 3, Mox Opal, 4? Maybe it's better to do it the other way. I am dead. The One Ring, or sorry, the Bowmasters seems like a very real problem for me. GG's. Alright. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Fine for what it is, but I do not think that this is a good deck. My primary complaint here is that this is a version of an existing deck that has splashed 2 colors. So we already have an existing, like, One Ring Karn Mystic Forge deck that is very good, very consistent. And we have splashed 2 colors into that to insert Displacer Kitten, Teferi combos into the deck, which I don't think is worth it. In doing so, we have added blue, 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 white, blue, 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 blue to this deck. And a lot of times when we had appropriate amounts of mana, we did not have appropriate colors of mana to do the things that we were doing. And I felt like I did not have the ability to interact with my opponent's stuff well, even considering my Karn tutor board. Let's take a quick look at Kozilek's command. Kozilek's command gives me graveyard hate. It gives me the ability to junk creatures. It gives me the ability to scry. It gives me the ability to make mana. If you are playing a deck of this general nature and you're not messing around with Kozilek's command, that seems like a mistake. This deck is very good at getting to 4 mana, but I don't know that it wins when it gets to 4 mana. So you can get to 4 mana, you can Karn minus, you can get the One Ring, and then if your opponent counters that One Ring, your Karn after that sucks. I do not believe we cast Elorian Revealed in the entire league. So that as a plan B to just refuel was not relevant. Coveted Jewel is awkward if people are playing Tamiyo. Both of the combos in my deck are bad against things like Bowmaster and Narset. So it's not like, oh, you shut off the One Ring, I will combo off with Displacer Kitten Teferi instead. Those things are both interacted with via the Bowmaster, Narset, Leovold, Spirit of Labyrinths of the world. We didn't run into it this league, but Disruptor Flute on the other side on the One Ring or Karn is very bad. Meltdown, probably pretty bad. I think my biggest issue is that most of the cards in the deck are not standalone good on their own. Like, it's basically the One Ring that's standalone good on its own. Displacer Kitten requires Teferi. Transmute Artifact requires both mana and a lower cost artifact to bridge you there. Displacer Kitten does nothing on its own. Karn wasn't great. I feel like enabling the Displacer Kitten Essence Reliquary lines means that this is not Ensnaring Bridge to buy time. This is not Mycosynth Lattice for an instant win. And basically, over the course of the league, we more or less only used this portion of the sideboard. Plus, I was told to board in the One Ring, which I feel like is a mistake. Your Karns get so bad. Like, if Karn is meant to be a bait spell and it's not meant to actually be good in a lot of the post sideboard games, like, why are we doing this? So I guess ultimately, I think this one is just too clunky. I often felt like I did not have enough mana to do the things that I wanted to do. I often did not have Metalcraft for Mox Opal. Like these aren't artifact lands, for example, to work towards Mox Opal being turned on. We don't have Urza's Workshop to have additional Planar Nexus synergy. I do not believe the additional combo and additional color is better than other One Ring decks that currently exist in Legacy. This was my first time picking up and playing this deck. There are surely lines that I missed, but I do not feel that the objective power of this deck is higher than other decks operating in a similar space. All right, that's all I've got for you today, folks. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and if you need some cards, you know where to go. See ya!